Yo, what it do, 2K fans? It's your boy JuKING the Boss, and in the last video I talked about the servers for 2K20 and how 2K can fix those issues. But I did mention also that I was going to dive deeper into the female MyPlayer aspect going into NBA 2K20. Now, we did get some news that told us that, of course, we will see female WNBA players in the game in some capacity. We don't know whether or not that just means that they're going to be putting it in there so you can play now with them, or add them into my GM, or add them into my league. And to me, 2K is in a prime position to kind of take the reins. Now, I dropped a video back in December where I talked about they were most likely going to be my players in NBA 2K20. And the reason why was because the NBA 2K League wanted to find a way to bring in more female gamers that play NBA 2K. And this was one of their ways of doing it. And so they were going to go all in. Now, there's quite a bit of information that kind of lines up that they can do this and successfully do it in this current iteration coming up. So first of all, let's look at NBA Live. Now, NBA Live got a 2-year head start when it came down to the addition of female MyPlayers. But what can 2K do to catch up with it? Well, it's simple. They have the resources and the knowledge to successfully add female MyPlayers. So what I mean by that is, I'll give you a quick timeline. Now, when NBA Live 18 first revealed the addition of WNBA teams and rosters, I already knew that it was just going to be an introductory factor. You would most likely be allowed to play quick games with them. At most, you'd be able to play a WNBA season, but even then was pushing it because they didn't completely have the same setup where it was like they can afford to put all their eggs in that basket because they had to work on the game itself. But in Live 19, they took that next step forward by allowing you to create a female baller. And though you couldn't play in the WNBA, you were still able to play park games and the Pro-Am live run games. So what does that do for NBA 2K? Well, first of all, look at what Live did in Live 19. They did allow you to not only, they didn't just create the ability for you to create female players, but they also had good body morphs, and at the same time they had gear that was exclusive to the female characters. So it wasn't just like, oh, you buy this gear for a guy and it's gonna fit a female. No, it was, you had the female version and you had the male version. And so that things like that take a little time, take a little effort. But what can 2K do? What do they have to do? Well, it's simple. It's already a proven thing that the create a female feature, if done right, can be a big plus. Now, when I look at it, let's say 2K Sports, they're in the same boat that EA Sports was in about 5 years ago. Now, you remember when EA Sports was creating NCAA football. Every year, to me, my personal opinion is that NCAA football was better than Madden because of the team that developed it. It felt like there was a little more passion from that team to create a more authentic college experience in football, and it made you want to play that game because of the roar of the crowd, the fact that you would go from, you know, you pick a small school or even create your school that doesn't have a big fan base and then build a dynasty and build a roaring 104,000 crowd stadium that just keeps people coming and brings that intensity and the ability to kind of add that extra level of craziness in the college game, that it made it feel closer to the game without you actually playing college football. And that's what made NCAA better. And it seemed that the following year, Madden would always try to take one of the features from NCAA and incorporate it in Madden, but it didn't really fall the same exact way. It didn't really, you know, land properly with everybody. So, you know, why is it that happened? Well, it was because mainly the NCAA team, like I said, it felt like more of a passionate team of people creating an NCAA project. I don't want to sit up here and just, you know, kind of crap on the Madden team, but that's what it felt like. The Madden team felt more along the lines of, you know, it's the only football game on the market. Nobody, you know, can really go anywhere else. So we don't really have too much to lose. But the NCAA always felt that they had to do better and better and better every single year. So that's one of those things. And 2K is technically in that same position right now. Now, what do you mean? What do I mean by that? There's no college basketball game. Of course there isn't. But Visual Concepts already have the blueprint. Now, the dev team that creates NBA 2K shares a building or a lot with the same dev team that creates WWE. Now, the WWE 2K series over the years has gotten better and better in the details behind their famous creation suite. And NBA dev team, the NBA 2K dev team, something that they most likely already have done over the past few years, probably are learning how to incorporate that, create a wrestler tool set to create the ultimate NBA 2K, create a player suite. And that would be big for them. It would be a smart move because, like I said, you already got a team that's been doing it for quite some time. That whole goal is to allow the user to create more and more, allow the user more freedom to create. So what could happen if they sat there and learned from their sister company or their brothers or their neighbors? What would it do for the NBA 2K franchise? Now what happens is, to me, we could see the most in-depth creation tool set in NBA 2K history as early as 2K20. Now, because of the addition of female MyPlayers, here are some of the massive sweeping changes that we would see in NBA 2K20 and beyond. So first and foremost is more body types for both males and females. Body types that, represent the actual weight of a created player. So everybody doesn't look like the same size, just different heights. You all know that you can create a 7'1", 7'3", 320 pound center, and he would look the same as a 7'3", 7'1", 260 pound center. And it's unrealistic in proportion, and I'm not saying it's about ultimate realism in the sport. It's about the realistic proportions that'll let me know. If I see I'm checking a really big dude, I know he got weight on me, I know he got size on me, that's going to change up how I play him in the post. And so those little things would help. Also, maybe an option for body blending. So in WWE 2K19, one of the greatest things that they did in the creation suite, to me personally, was you can choose between two body types. One could be ultimately skinny, and then another one could be kind of buff with kind of ripped. And you can blend between the two, so you can essentially have the closer to the skinnier body, but with more definition, like the buff body. And what that means is, it gives you a simple way of just detailing the blend of your character, allowing for more custom characters when it comes down to the visual look of them. The next thing is detailed body sculpting. So after choosing two blends and blend them together, the ability to add more detail to your character's profile, allowing for more variety in the players you see on the court. Now, I know this is something that's like very small, very minuscule, but in the long run of things, it is a very deep and detailed kind of thing that allows you to create more robust characters. So you can be a husky basketball player. You can be a really skinny basketball player. You can be, Eric Bledsoe kind of basketball player who look like he just at the gym 24/7. You can create more variety body types, and at the same time, it would allow the dev team behind NBA 2K to create more visual representations of the entire league. And to me, that's all in all, that'll be hands down one of the greatest things we'll see. But the biggest thing that the inclusion of female MyPlayers would bring to the table is a complete overhaul and revamping of the current control mechanics and the current game flow mechanics. And these are things that I've always felt that 2K could always do better at. I always feel like they do their best and they try. But to me, it's like the problem with Red Dead Redemption and GTA. If you don't change up how your control scheme works, if you don't change up and give your control scheme new breath, new life, then you're ultimately going to be creating a more flawed system. Though it's one that the world is used to and the world is ready for, and they know exactly how to operate. having a breath of fresh air from your control scheme and from your game flow would do wonders for the entire community. So when you see games like look at what Apex Legends did. Apex Legends came out and kind of took the world by storm. Nobody saw it coming, and it really took over. And then what Fortnite did was Fortnite, in their latest update, they grabbed a few mechanics from Apex Legends and incorporated those mechanics into Fortnite, because those mechanics are things that people enjoyed seeing from, you know, Apex Legends. They love the ping system in Apex Legends. And so it's done a little differently in Fortnite. You know, Apex Legends is more audio with the ping system, but it's there, and it's, you know, I guess they told me it's color coordinated. So it's looking at it and saying that if we have the female MyPlayers added in, as far as how detailed it's going to go, that's going to be the odd on kind of thing, because you don't want to see female MyPlayers that are restrictive as NBA Lives was, because for real, it's still a video game. You still, if you want to create you a 7'2", you know what I'm saying, 300-pound woman, then that's up to you. You know, you shouldn't have to just be restricted to, what was it, 6'5" centers. And if you created a female in NBA Live, I think it was 6'5" centers or 6'8" centers, something like that. And so, oh no, 6'9". I believe my sister created a 6'9" center. So when it comes down to it, you shouldn't be restricted, but at the same time, I understand where they're trying to make sure the balance is there. But it's a video game first and foremost. So allowing for the freedom of creation and allowing for the freedom of game flow, it's going to be perfect. Well, we always going to find a problem with 2K's game flow. But like I said, it's very simple. Just to get back on track, the creation and addition of female MyPlayers in NBA 2K20 will do NBA 2K a lot of good based on how much they would have to put into it, how much time and effort. But 2K has always been the company that they kind of go all in on something. So you don't just see them add, you know, WNBA players per play now, because they believe in investing in their modes that make them the most money. And that's one of the best things about it, is because they know that their biggest mode is the My Career mode, the Park and Pro-Am. They know that those modes are their biggest modes. And so they wouldn't just include female WNBA players. They wouldn't just include WNBA players and say, okay, that's what you have and you can play them and play now, because to them it would be kind of sort of a waste of resources. So in the slightest sense, the smallest I would see them doing is the ability to allow you to add them into my GM. But the optimal thing that I see happening when NBA 2K20 drops is that we're gonna have custom created female MyPlayers with, you know, more options, more body types, and hopefully because of that we see an overhaul to the game flow and mechanics. And the one thing I will say, this is an optional kind of thing, but to me it's kind of sort of important, is to find a way to create a story that allows you to play as either the male or the female. I did do some details on that in my video from December. I'll leave a card up above for that one, so you can go back and check that out. It's so many ways that they could actually incorporate it to a point where if you want to create a female player, or if you're a female who plays NBA 2K and you don't want to play online all the time, sometimes you want to just kind of play, you know, some My Career games, include the WNBA season. I know it's a shorter season, but you could balance it out to a point where, you know, you can essentially have both a guy and a gal combo, and you can choose which one you want to play. So you can say, okay, well, this season I'm gonna play the NBA setup, and then this season I might play the WNBA setup, or I might play both of them in that current season. There are a couple of ways that you can do it. But like I said, watch that video, check out that when it comes down to how detailed they can go into a story that includes both a male and a female MyPlayer. As always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, turn on post notifications so you always catch each video the moment it comes out, and also check out one of the 2 videos you see on screen. This your boy JuKING the Boss, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.